It's the last Michigan mailbag before game week. We are that close. After taking a week off, we're answering all your questions right here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines.
You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday. We are back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Holt, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. Thank you for making us your first listen. Thank you to all of our everydayers out there that check out the show every single day. We're going typical mailbag here with Leaders and Best, Victor's Valiant Blue Crew. We have a hard 30-minute out time, partially because I'm using the camera that shuts off after 30 minutes. Thank you, Canon EOS R6 Mark I. Also due to having to get to Ann Arbor. Let's start off with our Leaders and Best, James Crudup at James Crudup 6. What would you say is an acceptable number of losses if the team remains relatively healthy? How much do you see the suspension playing a role? Well, they're going to win that Central Michigan game regardless. So it's all about that Nebraska game. I would say 3 would be acceptable, but not optimal. If they lose, say, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Ohio State, like, it wouldn't be a great season, but it would be acceptable, I think. No one is going to accept it, but it would be acceptable. If it was like Ohio State, Michigan State, I don't know, Wisconsin or something like that, a team you don't expect them to lose to, that would be unacceptable. So it all depends on who. Right, because if Ohio State's one of the 3, then it's not. No one's gonna like that. If it's like Washington, I don't know who else to add. Washington, USC, and not Ohio State and another team, then like it'll be acceptable. I think it's just about who those losses are to. But I have them 10-2. I have no idea who the 2 are to. Does Michigan have a new sign stealer, or will they operate without one? As far as I know, they don't, or at least they didn't last year. I don't. So, yeah. I mean, they huddled a lot too, so they kind of didn't need to quite as much. But I mean, the cat and mouse game's still a thing. But nonetheless, as far as I know, they didn't have one last year. I don't know if they will this year or not. Josh Barr at Jadicke. Jim Harbaugh was always shooting for 200 and 200 passing and rushing yards per game. How much do you think Chip and Moore will vary from that? Probably not by much. Obviously, if you can get kind of what it was in parts of 2021 and 2022, where it felt like it was more like 200, 300, they would love to do that. I think that's optimally, you want it to be kind of more 250, 250. I think that's kind of what they're going to shoot for, but we'll see. What point per game mark would be successful for the offense this season? I don't know what the averages are offhand. So if I say a number that's incredulously low or high, then it's just because I don't really know, that's what a team averages per year. I think that successful for the offense would be probably like 30 points a game. I think that would be good. That might be really high. I just don't know, like, in the aggregate what the averages are offhand. My brother in metal, Michael Wolf at MWolf21, 3 things you want to see from the offense versus New Mexico. I want to see efficiency. I want to see a decent yards per attempt in terms of the pass game, and I want to see 200 plus rushing yards. Actually, let's say 300 because it's New Mexico. I want to see 300 rushing. Jimmy Whitner at Jimmy Whitner 1. How is Zuri doing? She's good. She's alternating between being acting like a petulant toddler and being incredibly codependent and needy. Number 2, do you get to tailgate before home games? No, I don't tailgate before home games. I have at certain more later games, but generally no, I don't. Especially I have to be at the stadium about 3 hours beforehand. So I do not. Number 3, who will be our starting punter? Sounds like it's Hudson Hollenbeck. So there you go. Jonathan Joseph at J Joseph 2156. Who will coach in the Sherrone suspended games? Hasn't been announced. I think it's probably going to be one of the coordinators. That would be my guess. I want it to be Biff Boji. That way you free up the coordinators. But you kind of can't go wrong with either Chip Lindsey or Bitpoji, because both have been head coaches at the college level. So I would go with either of those guys. I mean, heck, you could do Lou Esposito too. He's been a head coach, not at the FBS, but he was the head coach at Davenport. So there you go. Finishing us out in segment 1, we're going super fast. Hopefully that doesn't mean this is a 3-minute answer. Spencer Whitmore. Spencer Whitmore. How are you feeling going into this year How are you feeling going into this year, coming the team as long as you've been? Oh, covering the team. I think it autocorrected. Does it feel similar to other years? It's in some ways it's more boring. Like there's not as much intrigue, even with the Bryce Underwood of it all. Especially because they're not like sitting there hyping up Bryce Underwood. You ask about Bryce and they're like, oh, every quarterback. So I think that doesn't help. It reminds me though of going from 2020 to 2021 in a lot of ways, where they're saying all these things about culture and guys being on the same page, and you're like, yeah. And I think that that's what it reminds me of a lot. People aren't really thinking about Michigan that much from the outside. Yeah, they're ranked 14th and all of that, but people think like, yeah, they're ranked now, but then after they lose to Oklahoma and Nebraska and Wisconsin and USC and Washington and Purdue, then we'll reassess. You're right. Like that's kind of where they're at, I feel. All right. We've got so much more to get to, not enough time to get to it. So we are going to move on to the Victor's Valiant here in just a moment. But before we do, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you may stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rougiette might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. It's already complete. It's also completely online. Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment directly to your door. You can even read real customer reviews on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. So with that in mind, head to rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege and use the code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege. And use the promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougiette website for full safety information. All right, I just ran 3 miles for the first time in 4 years. This morning. It was a little slow, but man, good to do it. Very good to do it. I'm having y'all be my accountability partner where we're at. This first question does not come from someone in the Victor's Valiant, but I've vaulted them up because I wanted to answer this when people were watching or listening. So I wanted to make a point. Fuzzy Dunlop asked, yeah, why are you doing content with Steve Dace? Okay, because number one, he is a very good friend of mine. Number two, he is, we're talking about the NCAA stuff with Connor Stallions, in which he was on the phone with Connor and I all throughout the entire process, and he had incredible insight and really helped things along as far as a lot of the strategy, figuring out what can and can't be said on this show, what did and didn't happen. We came to a lot of the things that maybe satiated a lot of you, that made you feel a lot better about the situation, to understand what we were actually dealing with, was because of Steve Dace. Now, if you don't like him for political reasons or whatever, then that's up to you. But this guilt by association thing that you're trying to do here, I think you probably, you don't want anyone looking under your hood either. And sitting there and trying to nitpick everything. Like, I think that's a ridiculous thing to say. Steve's a great dude. He's one of my best friends. So I am not even remotely apologetic for having him on the show or going on his show. I would do it every single time, no matter how much vitriol I might get. So there you go. All right, to the victors valiant. Chubbs at Chubbs GB. At Talk with Chubbs. Did you get a good laugh seeing some of the crash outs from rival fans over at cheating and no hammer? Not really. Number one, I was pretty busy, so I didn't really get a chance to peruse much. B, like I've said before, I just want peace. That's why I just, at this point, just block any hostile Buckeye. If someone comes respectfully and start, they're not trying to just get you in kind of a similar gotcha as Fuzzy Dunlop is trying to do there, then I won't block them. But no, I didn't really pay much attention to it. But and I saw some of the spin, right? I saw some of the people saying, it was the hammer. And it's like, that's not what you guys said the hammer was. But no, I don't really relish in that kind of schadenfreude personally. That's just me. I understand others do. This isn't me like being like, oh, I'm so much better. It's just not, other people love seeing that stuff. For whatever reason, it does not do it for me. I'm not the one at William Cawthorne 9. Let's my hypothetical. If Keene catches up to Bryce and there is a 1A, 1B situation, who's Michigan go with, experience or new blood? Listen, that's Keene's healthy. He's still not in the near physical realm. But what you're really dealing with is someone who's experienced, has done it a ton, and may or may not make a lot of mistakes. And again, Keene made some pretty big mistakes against Michigan last year, versus a guy whose ceiling his floor is probably higher than Keene's ceiling. So take that for what you will. Who will have a better first season, JJ or Bryce Underwood? Bryce Underwood. Do you think that opposing fans will chant cheaters? And if they do, will it mess with the player's psyche? I think it might backfire. I feel like this is kind of a similar group to the 2023 type of team. Maybe we'll see. I mean, we'll find out when they go to Oklahoma if that's true. But yeah, I think that's going to happen, but it's just going to be one of those things that have just got to make the hostility of the road, work for them. Certainly that type of stuff was happening at Ohio State last year, and they managed, Clark at Blue for Life 8, how much of a drop-off should we expect between the starting edge rushers and the second string? I know they say it is not much, but I'm kind of in the have to see it to believe it mindset with that. Well, I mean, I think you saw it in the Alabama game. Cam Brandt and Dom Nichols looked really good in there. Cam Brandt, they consider a third starter there, which, again, he's not the third. I mean, he's not a starter, but so, whatever. But, I don't think it'll be a massive drop-off. I think it'll look kind of like what you're accustomed to seeing. I think it'll look like what, TJ Guy was, even though he started a couple games, was a reserve and ended up being second in sacks. Think of it kind of as like one of those years like 2016 where I think, everyone, you want to see Taco and Chris Wormley out there, but Jason Rashawn, you don't feel that bad when they come in. That's kind of how I feel about it. I have full confidence in the defensive line, like full confidence. Perry Mitchell OA 2026 running backs room. Marshall, Parker, Hyder. How is that peeling order going to go down with so much talent? I don't know, man. It's a lot of talent, though. I mean, Marshall and Hyder, and Jasper Parker too. There's a chance, if Justice Haynes doesn't have the season he wants, he could be there. I mean, it's getting deep quick. And don't forget, Donovan Johnson will be healthy. He was on his way to 5-star status before he started having injury problems. If they can get him healthy, get him going, I mean, it could be anyone's game here. ZT Jones at who's Zach Jones? Do you think Nate Marshall will have enough playing time this year to have a shot at recording 5.5 sacks or 5+ sacks? No, I don't. I think 3 would probably be the number you want to see, but I mean, you've got other guys like Devin Baxter, Lugard Adekpai. There's a name that's in that room that I just keep forgetting that I think is going to be good this year. I just can't think of who it is. We'll figure it out. Dr. JT PhD at Vaunted JT. How is Anthony Simpson looking? Do you think he can carve out a role? I mean, he's the most prolific, experienced wide receiver on the roster. Yeah, he's kind of gotten cursory mentions, which has surprised me. Samaj has gotten a lot more. So I'm not really sure what to make of that. Because I had Simpson slotted in as a starter before this, all of this Samaj talk. I've talked to some people who have seen him and say he's the real deal, but he isn't getting a lot of mention. I don't know if that's just still acclimating to the whole thing or what, but he's going to definitely have a big role. I'll be interested to see if someone like CJ Charleston, who's still around. He can carve out a role. We don't talk about him at all, right? He did some stuff at Youngstown State, only had one catch, had some injury issues last year, was a prolific blocker when he was out there. I'll be interested to see what he does. Edwin Simmons at Simmons_Edwin. Happy Thursday, my brother in Christ. God bless you. Thank you very much, Edwin. The 5-star running back reminds me of Chris Perry with more speed. What do you think? I'm not much of an evaluator in those terms. I couldn't tell you anything about Chris Perry's game other than I remember watching him when I barely knew anything about football and thought he was very good. I'm not sitting there watching highlights. And honestly, I haven't sat and really delved into too much of the Savion Hyder highlights, minus just seeing them kind of sporadically. So, do you think that we flip anyone this cycle? And do you think think anyone can flip? And do you think can someone flip any from our fold? We missed the dog. Yeah, Zuri is being a petulant toddler over there. Steve Wiltfong said that they're working on a couple flip prospects. Yeah, I think that they will flip at least one more person. And I can't think of anyone right now that seems like a viable person to leave this class. So at this point, I mean, maybe I could be surprised, but right now it feels like everyone's solid. So that's good. Michigan's armchair quarterback who loves to jump in on Patrick Barron hate with me is we could have punished you but decided not to, just the NCAA speak for we jumped the gun on all this but didn't have the case we wanted, so we're saving face and your punishment will be us trying to tarnish your reputation. I mean, that's kind of, I said this on Steve Dace's show. Yeah, I think that's part of it, right? Like, I think it's they're trying to do both things, right? They're trying to please everybody, right? You cheated, but we're not going to do anything about it type of thing, right? Like, hey, we're going to give you the punishment you actually deserve while giving lip service to all the other people. That's how I read it personally. I understand there's others that think that I'm insane for thinking that. They tend to wear colors that are not maize and blue. But that's my interpretation of it personally, because it's like, okay, if you think that they are deserving of it, then and as clearly you do based off of the language, then act accordingly. But they didn't do that. Adam Casel at Adam_Casel. Do you think Steingate impacts the national perception of Sherrone? No, I don't. I don't think nationally it matters. Like, I understand there's Pat Forty, Stuart Mandel. Those guys are going to be crybabies about the whole thing all the time. But no, I don't think that the average person, fan, media thinks that much of that, right? Is the season playoff or bust for Michigan? Why or why not? No, I don't think it's playoff or bust, but I think it shows sizable improvement in terms of getting the offense going. I think it would be an ideal situation. I think as you've got the defense, you're going to lose some of those players that I think, like the linebackers, a lot of those defensive tackles. So I don't think it's necessarily playoff or bust, but I think getting 9 wins is the most important thing. But schedule wise, man, I just don't think they're even thinking like that. That's, I think, the big thing. I don't want to heap an expectation on them. I mean, I think they'll make the playoff, but I don't want to heap an expectation on them that they're not even remotely thinking of at this point. So that, right, they're just like, get better today. And I think that's what works for them the best. Jacob Chavaria at Chavaria will be going to Germany next year. Yes, I will be. I got to start saving this fall. And I'm going to probably we'll still do shows, but I'm going to go like the week before and tour Europe a little bit. So you might get some like, here's me in the Alps type shows. What would the show cause Jim and Connor received be removed? The NCAA is disbanded and replaced with a new governing body. No, I don't think so. I think it's still binding. Great Bambino X at Classes Cloud X. Who are some of the flip targets in the 26 class? I don't really know for sure. I know that Steve Wiltfong mentioned Michigan's going after Devon Benjamin, Oregon commit, 5-star, 4-star, high 4-star, depending on the service. Cornerback. I don't really know. I haven't really touched recruiting in about a month outside of a couple things because we've been gearing up for the season. What does Sherrone have to do to start to change the national media narrative and ratings? I think playoff, beat Ohio State again. And I think then people will start. I think if he wins at Oklahoma, that will start changing things. You got to start there. Caleb 7-Eleven, as Connor 8 years show cause ruling from the NCAA is being appealed, and I don't know if it is, to be honest. Connor, when I talked to him, it sounded, he didn't really give me an answer if they were appealing it or not. Can Connor work in football now? No, he's got a 1-year suspension anyway. Along with that, if Michigan appeals are successful, he should have a legitimate lawsuit back against the NCAA. He was so wrongfully been cast as the bad guy. I want to see some justice for him. Just be patient. There's some stuff that's being worked out. That's all I got. Nunya Biz at U of M fan for life. Given your entertainment agent background and now sports involvement, I'm sure it's an unspoken rule you don't ask for autographs. I know you said you're not much of a memorabilia collector. That being said, have you ever asked for one? You don't have to say who. No, I have not. I just don't care. Like that much. Like I don't need to show. I don't need to like have anything, to show like, oh yeah, like it just doesn't matter to me. And no, I'm not a memorabilia collector. I mean, I've asked for autographs in my past, but more when I was a kid. I had cards signed and stuff like that. But no, I haven't asked anyone for an autograph since maybe a band autograph signing back around like 2000. Going to the Korn campaign back in 1998. That's probably about it. Or I think saw Cold at Harmony House. They did an autograph signing at an acoustic set in Clarkston. I think that might be about the last time I had an autograph signing. I had them sign a picture of my mom because thought that was. The Rican Raider at Hamstand 87. Could we lose running backs in the transfer portal next year with the addition of Hyder? I don't think so. I mean, maybe I guess maybe. You never say never, right? Could be some of those guys that are, I'm not actually going to say like they are going to, but like a guy like Bryson Cusdall, like if he like comes in, does really well as a third, but just sees the like some depth ahead of him, then yeah, I mean, you might maybe go for greener pastures, but I don't know. Mark Zimke finishing us out in segment 1. As a Chargers fan, I saw a lot of Armari and Hampton film after the draft. One thing I noticed was how often he caught shovel passes. One, how strange would that look for Michigan? 2, do you think Chip Lindsey, who he reminded me and us, everybody, he reminded you, the people, I wanted to do Bane, do it, that Chip Lindsey was his coach. Do you think Chip Lindsey will utilize that? I think it would depend on a loaded box, but I'm not sure. I don't know, because I mean, I would imagine if that's how Chip Lindsey used him, that you'll see some similar schematic things, that especially if he feels like they can work at Michigan. Right. Like, I think you'll see some inventiveness that wasn't there. And also I'd heard, I think you'll just see a lot of things. I just keep on hearing more and more stuff about how things went last year with Kirk Campbell. That gives me the feeling that just a basic competent offensive coordinator is going to be able to make things a heck of a lot better. Okay. So that's where I'm at with that. All right, we don't have a heck of a lot of time, and we got a lot more questions. We're going to try to run through as many as we can. We're not getting to everybody. We're going to do that here in just a moment. But before we do, if you're running a business, every missed call is money left out on the table. Think about the last time you needed a service. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need Open Phone, so you never miss an opportunity to connect with your customers. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system designed to streamline and scale your customer communications. Do you juggle 2 phones just to keep business and personal calls separate? Well, Open Phone solves that instantly. Your whole team can share one number, respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more who's handling this. And the great thing is the AI agent handles after hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads, so you never miss a customer again. See why over 60,000 businesses trust Open Phone. They're offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnCollege. That's OPENPHONE. .com/LockedOnCollege. They'll even port over your existing numbers for free. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. We'll continue on here in a moment, but before we do, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you churn up your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason is already heating up, and the college football world isn't far behind, right? We got week 0 coming up this Saturday. Whether you've got your eye on big name quarterbacks or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in on the game. Listen, all you have to do, it's so simple to play. You just pick more or less on a 2 to 6 player stat projection. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Use Prize Picks for a few seasons now, and I love how simple it is. You can even get your lineup in before your coffee finishes brewing. And the flex play option is a total game changer. Even one of your picks misses, you still see your money double. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On College. That's the code to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5. Prize Picks. Run your game. I think this is the least amount of time we have for the Blue Crew, so let's run through it as fast as we can here. Wolverine Libertadis. Am I crazy to think with Winks defense, Michigan wins by 2+ possessions in Norman? I think it's absolutely possible. I don't know what, we just got to see what they look like week 1, and same with Oklahoma, even though they play an even worse team than New Mexico. Offense doesn't even need to be spectacular, in my opinion, to win that game. I agree, but I mean, it's, game situations and all of that too. Ritz at Ryan with a number that I can't read from here. Could Jack Harbaugh coach Michigan during Sherrone Moore's absence as a volunteer? I mean, he's been removed from, away from the program, but for a couple of years. So no, I think it'd be better to have someone that's been around, that the kids know, all that stuff. David Pruden. Isaiah, love your show. Thank you very much. Been watching for a few years and said hey to you at the spring game. I have an idea that a good season for Bryce is 2,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Would this be good enough as a baseline for his first year? Jesus loves you and everyone. God bless. I would like to see the yards up, right? Because that wouldn't be terrible. I think that's a fine touchdown to interception ratio. I'd like to see the yards more around 2,800, but I guess it depends on what the running backs do. But I think that would be fine. I just would like to see it up a little bit in as far as yards. Pro 1209 going into week 2 at Oklahoma. Who's running back 1 and who's 2? I mean, they're 1A, 1B. I'd say Haynes, Marshall in that order, but it doesn't really matter because they probably will have equal carries. Westbrook MVP asked, I know you already touched on this, but is Michigan's appeal partially due to them trying to discover the source and take further action if they find anything nefarious? I think they're more so trying to get things they're trying to get them to remove a lot of that language that they had in that we've talked about. I think they're also trying to maybe move to discovery, something like that. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I think someone asked this. I don't think we're gonna have time to get there, but a lot of people say oh, Michigan doesn't want discovery. No, Michigan absolutely wants discovery. All right. I think 27 over there, 28 over there. Okay. Coy Brown, who would be your pick for interim head coach in games 3-4? I said that before. It'd be Biff Poggi. That would be my thing. Love Shack asked, for those in the media who are eager to run with the story of Chris Partridge being an unsavory character, have any done a mea culpa on his behalf since he was exonerated? Of course not. No one ever admits they're wrong. Dottie King asks, have the Michigan football captains been named yet? Inquiring minds want to know. Nope, that happens in an hour and a half, which is why we got to hurry up here to get out the door. Chris at U of M, Chris 25, up multiple scores at the end of the third. Do we sit Bryce at the 4th for precaution or let him rip it for experience? I think you just sit him. You've got the game win. I know you want experience. He'll get experience in the next game. Bradley Ramsey at BK Ramsey. How do you foresee the 2026 running back room shaping out, assuming Justice Haynes returns? Would have to imagine Haynes and Marshall will still be 1A, 1B. However, Stavion Hyder, Jasper Parker, Micah Capana all appear to have tremendous upside. That's a problem for future Michigan. I have no idea, man. Last one for us here is Brian Salo, who says, how is Michigan never in on CJ Carr? Michigan just didn't really, it was Michigan's choice. Michigan wasn't really going after him. There was something about him they didn't particularly want. I have no idea. Actually, I'll just go. Kevin asked for, God bless you, my friend. What's more likely in your opinion, Michigan going 10-2 or 7-5? 10-2. 7-5 is they lose to everyone with a pulse. All right, camera's running out. Thanks for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you again soon. Peace.